Flowdan, welcome to Helsinki. Is this the first time, right?
I think this is my first time in Helsinki, yes.
You'll be performing 2 times here in Finland, in Helsinki and also in Lahti. How do you prepare for yourself for new places where you haven't visited yet, where you are not sure what kind of crowd is there waiting for you?
To be honest, I genuinely believe that most crowds are kind of the same. Like, no matter what continent, no matter what waters I cross, I do believe if I have the same attitude, which is a professional showmanship, try to be honest about the energy, show usually goes well. I find that if I lead by example, the crowd usually follow. So my preparation is usually the same for every show. I rehearse and just bring it to the crowd as normal.
What about like if you're touring a lot and you have a lot of shows in like a very short time, so that might, take off a lot of your energy. How do you still keep it like upbeat and like try to give best to every crowd that you meet? Do you have like certain things to do?
To be honest, I think my preparation, and just to repeat your question, if I have like let's say 4 shows in 3 days, by the 4th show, it feels like it's the easiest show, because in sports we say match fit. So the more we do it, the easier it feels, the easier it becomes. And that's usually how it works with performing. Usually at the end of a tour, the last couple shows I usually feel like the less stress on the person, on myself, on the DJ, and it just feels like we're in the swing of things now. So therefore, like, it just goes easier. They get easier basically. So no extra energy feels like it's being spent. Obviously, we pay the toll after all the shows and stuff, but at the time, it doesn't feel strenuous at all.
You are one of the founding members of Roll Deep, the group that kind of is considered of the one that started the whole grime scene.
Yeah.
Been part of this music scene and grime scene for a long time now. And then starting from early 2000 and to 2017, how much has the scene changed? How much growth have you seen, or what do you feel about the whole time that you've been part of this?
First and foremost, it's very interesting to see that I'm one of the grassroots elements of something that's gonna probably be forever now. From the dates you mentioned, I feel proud to be influential to young people that probably wasn't even born yet. So they might not even personally know what I do or done, but if they want to be a grime MC today, whether you want to be a Skepta or a Wiley or a Dizzy Rascal or someone newer, Kano, I don't know, I'm a part of the influence that's brought you to that point. What I do see is that people know what I'm speaking about right now, so therefore they've got like ambitions, plans to actually be successful in the music in a way that probably wasn't possible before. When I say it wasn't possible, I mean there's a lot of people that are influenced by what I do that didn't think they was going to be the people doing what they do now. So that's a positive thing for young people from where I'm from and from anywhere. And I'm just glad to see that people are taking themselves seriously, as opposed to doing music like a hobby and not really understanding that it can change their life for them. Now I'm sure that a lot of people from where I'm from definitely believe that if they take music seriously, they can change their life and their family's life. So that's a positive thing.
So I think it's positive to have also the business side of it, like to understand that it actually can change your life and you can make a living out of it. So it's not just like something you do every now and then.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's as we progress and as we evolve, the individuals involved start to understand more about themselves and about the music business, because music business was there before grime, and I'm sure it will be there after. It's a shame, but the music business is a part that you also have to master. Not every artist needs the same business. but they still have to have an element of their own business certified and in order to be able to move forward and capitalize on opportunities that may arise from being talented.
So you, Wiley, and a few others who started the group and started to make grime as it is today. What made you guys like what inspired you guys to create something new, a new sound, and not just go with rap or hip hop that was already existing? What was that thing that you said that, well, this doesn't suit us, we'll have to do something new?
To be honest, to answer a question like that fully honestly would have to speak to Wiley, but I can see that our inspiration came from what was already existing, but it just didn't fit like a glove, so to speak. For instance, we are heavily into reggae, hip hop, like their musics that were like our default musics from our parents from just growing up, and not necessarily having a preference yet, but that's what you're exposed to. As soon as I had a preference, and I can speak for a lot of people, a lot of my peers around the same age, as soon as we had a preference, we kind of leaned towards drum and bass, jungle music, because it had a UK feel to it and a UK accent and stuff like that. So everything else we was listening to was either from the Caribbean or America. So although it entertained me and us, I don't think it influenced us enough to really want to be. Like, I don't know any of my friends that actually wanted to be, let's say, Tupac or Biggie Smalls or Nas or someone like that. We liked that music, but we didn't want to be them. And for myself, with my dancehall influence, or with my dancehall style that I use on grime, even looking at dancehall, I didn't want to be a dancehall artist. I wanted to do something that had a UK feel, but still had the best parts of hip hop and the best parts of any other music that I liked. Wiley steps in and starts to think. He's thinking the same way, but he's also a producer, so he created a sound that just felt perfect for all of the elements that we are into, and perfect for what we want to add to the game as well. And there you have it. You have grime, which to me is like a very honest form of UK street culture, which was hip hop, or is hip hop. So therefore, or what hip hop was. So it was our street culture. It was the first time you heard real authentic London accents with London issues, like a young person's London issues. It was the first time you heard all of that. Hence why the Boy in the Corner album by Dizzy Rascal got a Mercury Award. And I don't think Dizzy Rascal looked back since. And I just think that all of that just created grime.
And now it's like, since maybe like 2014, 15, it has grown quite big. Like, it's everywhere, not just UK big, but it's like in Europe, and even like in the States, people are talking about grime these days, and people want to, also try their. I mean, even in Finland, we have people, doing grime and stuff like that. So what do you think about that? That it has grown? Is it a good thing? Do you think it's good for the grime culture that it's that big today?
It's definitely good that it's growing, spreading, and people are trying to make the sound themselves. For just like when I was a young person, whatever music I was trying to make or emulating, it was just because I respected the style and the sound. So if people are doing that, then that's a sign of respect and a sign of gratification. Like, you want to be like these guys. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it needs to happen for the scene to establish itself as what hip hop is, or reggae is, or punk music is, or whatever. I think it needs to be done by everybody, or everybody that wants to do it. I think everybody's welcome. Just pay attention to how it goes. Like, if you're learning from the outside, just pay real attention to what makes a grime song tick and what makes a grime audience move. If you're going to pay respects to that and bring your own talent and your own twist to that, it's a good thing. It needs to happen, because otherwise it stays boring, or becomes boring, I should say.
So that's actually kind of good thing to hear, that as long as you pay respect to what you are, borrowing. So so-called borrowing, then it's okay to be influenced and use it and do it your own way. Let's talk about your music then. You've been doing this like more than 15 years, right? And you've been doing music in different groups as a solo artist. You've been traveling and stuff. But there's like, when you look at your career, it looks like, at least from like outsider's point of view, that there have been some years that you were not so active, like you weren't releasing that much music. But then last few years, you've been quite actually active, releasing a lot of albums, EPs, and doing a lot of features in different songs. What happened there? Like, did you need like a time to step back, see some things differently, or what happened there that got you back?
I can help with that. It's more like in the beginning. Let's say the first 10 years of the Flowdan career, in Roll Deep and as a MC. There was no structure to my life. There was no structure to my career. It was all new to us and new to me. We was ending up in situations that we didn't dream of. So it was all, so to speak, by accident. So that first period of no organization. So therefore, when you look back, you might see gaps of 6 months, maybe 2 years of nothing particular by Flowdan. But I need you to understand that even though there's nothing released, I was definitely performing, doing shows, stuff like that, or else I would literally starve. So even though my presence wasn't that active in that way, I was definitely doing shows and on a stage somewhere since 2007, 8, when I made a tune. I met the Bug. Been very busy with touring since I met him. So whether it's Flowdan projects or Roll Deep projects or the Bug projects, I'm always touring. But recently, since 2012, 13 maybe, I started to take my own solo career a little bit more serious and be a bit more professional and have some direction and some type of ambition for what I want for Flowdan, because I'm realizing again the opportunities are out there. As long as I've organized and got my business right, I can capitalize.
What helped you to organize your stuff, your career? Like, were there certain people involved with it, or did you just find the right state of mind to do it?
To be honest, it was definitely a state of mind, taking myself seriously, stakes going up. When the stakes go up, the effort goes up. And yes, I did acquire some management at the time, around 2012 maybe, and they definitely helped me be organized and let me focus on just being a musician. And they took care of all the emails and all of the liaising with people and shopping me for opportunities and rejecting people that haven't got the right opportunities and stuff like that, and just letting me just basically be a recording artist. That was great, but I also learned from them at the time, to the point where I can manage myself and manage others, which I'm kind of looking at doing at the moment. And I'm just enjoying making music and being self-sufficient.
So when you are at a point where you're definitely focusing on your own career, but you said like you're also interested on managing others, how do you keep the balance, and how do you not see the younger generations, for example, as a competition, and rather as more of a team thing? Yeah,
the younger generation, it's not all of them, because they're like, the younger generation are what I was. Yeah. So and when I was there, I didn't even know what I had. So I don't have nothing against the younger generation. I definitely want them to be there. I want them to be more and more. But for me, I kind of like gravitate to certain attitudes as opposed to talent. The right talent and the right attitude makes me think, I want to help you. There's nothing in it for me, because I find that my career is going well, but I just want to help the help. I do want Grime to be strong in the future, and I think that if I can do little things other than just be a musician to help that, I definitely will. And I do know that my legacy isn't just in my work, but it's in other people's thoughts, other people's respect, And if people can remember a time where they enjoyed being around me, whether it's because they helped me or we made a song together or we just enjoyed life, then that's a part of a positive legacy which I'm trying to grow.
You've said in another interview that when you do music, you don't if you end up working with somebody, you don't start from things like who's hot and who's not, but more of finding right people. So how do you know that, okay, this is the person I want to do a song with, or this is a person I definitely want to have as a producer on my song? What are the things that makes it interesting to work with them?
Usually their sound, that's the first and foremost, their sound. So if we're talking about a producer and I'm approached by a producer to do a song, the only thing I'm going to be trying to check out is what they sound like, how what they do can work with what I do. After that, if I've had any rapport, any conversation, any type of run-ins with them, I would definitely, they don't know it, but they was in an interview at that time. And if we've come as far as swapping music and speaking about a song, then they must be cool enough to work with. And that's the first way. And MCs are usually very egotistical. So I just look for the ones that know how to put that aside when it's time to work. Because I don't like working with people that are trying to outdo you on a track. I think the tracks are like, if I'm going to be for instance, like a track, like I've done a remix for Lethal Bizzle featuring Gigs and loads of other people. Now that was like an industry move. So I knew that you have to go there and represent yourself only. Represent yourself and make sure that in the conversation of who done well on the track, you are in that conversation. That's a different approach to how I make my own music. When I'm making my own music, it's about, can we have a really good song? And it doesn't matter who gets the highlights, just as long as we've got a good song. That's how I like to work. So anyone that's trying to win on a track, I don't really want to work with them.
So you prefer it's a team thing, it's a teamwork, and you want to shine equally. And
Definitely. And then in a industrial way, if you call me for work where it's a bunch of people that are the competition, I can do that as well. I just don't enjoy that as much.
Some people have said about some of your recent work that they're quite not sure if it's grime or if it's dubstep or something else, but you've said that to you grime is quite open-minded. So how do you describe grime as a music, like as a sound? How do you describe it, or open to someone who might not know the differences?
Okay, well, I think we need to, it sounds silly, but we need to move away from the sound and listen to the attitude. Depends on how well rehearsed you are, but there's an attitude in the music, like the instrumental, and there's definitely an attitude from the MC. Like I said, I feel like the original essence of grime is a London street culture. So street culture exists in every country. I just think that the difference between hip hop, so to speak, and grime is that our sound is a bit more edgy, a bit more intrusive to the ear. It's in its embryonic stages, meaning that the sound still sounds young. It's not refined yet, and bass lines and very harsh drums would be a good place to start. But then overall, it's about the attitude and the delivery of the artist to say that's grime. I don't think if anybody listens to that explanation, they're going to know what grime is still, but that's my answer.
This actually shines and makes it very, very logical, because like you said in the beginning, that when you started the whole grime thing, it was like you wanted to make your own version of what it was hip hop and rap. You wanted to make it sound like UK thing. So I think that explaining it as the attitude way, it actually makes quite sense. Is that it really separates it from a lot of other things.
Yeah, I would like to add that someone can correct me if I'm wrong at a later date on social media or something, but I honestly believe that grime is the first music that kind of accepted that they didn't live the lifestyle of the other musics that influence us, i.e. we didn't have strip clubs, or if we did, they wasn't for us. We didn't drive Cadillacs and Beamers and Benzes and stuff like that, and if we did, we didn't say it in that way. We say our word vocab was totally unique, which every country's is. But for some reason, some artists, when they get into a music making scenario, they start emulating so much they even change their language. And I think grime kind of made it cool to use a London accent or use your own accent, because if you go to Birmingham in the UK, they don't sound like London, but you can tell it's grime. So I think it's about your own street culture coming out through your own form of expression.
So you're touring all the time, but you're also making music all the time. I mean, it seems, at least when you look at the music that has been out there in the last couple of years. What's the balance in between? Like, how do you need separate time? Like, do you have to take time off from touring to be able to create new music, or can you do both at the same time?
I can definitely do both at the same time regarding touring and creating. For me, if I'm not creating, I'm moving backwards. So I have to, I spend 80% of my week in my studio, maybe 70, because sometimes I go home. But my studio, I find, is a place where I can be most productive, meaning I can be doing some type of creative work, or I can be helping someone do creative work, or I can be surrounded by all my music, the beats I'm making, or the songs I'm working on, or other people's music. It's just it's like a hub, like my office. So when I'm at home, it's like I'm definitely not working, and I don't see how I can survive if I'm not working. That's just how it is for me. So I get bored quite quickly. So yes, there's no balance. It's just all music. Everything to do with my day and my week, my year, is all music. Mostly.
Where do you get inspiration from then? Like, if you're all the time working, you're in the studio or you're touring, where do you get inspiration for creating something new then?
My inspiration sounds silly when I say it comes from anywhere, but mostly it comes from just my drive to want to do more. I want to do more. I don't want to do more of the same. So I like I said, I work with other MCs, so sometimes I use them. I let them inspire me because they're excited to be there today. So that person's excitement can turn into my excitement. I'm just aware that the energy and the inspiration can come from anywhere, but the problem I would have is that if I'm not in the studio. So sometimes it's not all systems go. Sometimes it's just watch YouTube and catch up on Game of Thrones or whatever. But I just like to be ready for when the inspiration comes. I can actually start recording it instantly, because I've stopped actually writing down my ideas about 7 years ago. So I have to stay close to a recording device, or else.
Really? You don't write down?
No.
You just go straight to this?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. But what do you then, if you are not close to a studio, do you use your phone or anything to record it?
Like recently I've been WhatsApping myself.
Okay.
I've been sending myself little lines of lyrics, but usually if the idea is good, it stays until I get back to the studio.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's true. So what's the next big step? Have you thought about maybe the next 5 years or anything, or do you go year by year? How much do you actually plan your music stuff?
When I get back to London, I'm probably going to have a meeting regarding this question, because I need to have a plan now, because I've taken on a lot of different roles, and they're going to swamp me, and we have a saying, we've bitten off more than you can chew. I don't want to do that, so I'm definitely going to have to make some plans and be organized. But yeah, so it's just more of the same, being an artist, hopefully being creative. I've just finished an album and an EP, which I'm due to release between now and early next year. Again, started to produce some music, working with younger artists, managing, running a label. I think all of that's going to keep me busy for the next decade at least.
Well, that sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.